Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my kitchen. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you how I make my homemade EINKORN tortillas. If you guys are new around here, welcome. My name is Becca. I'm a registered dietitian and I share lots of nutrition information, recipes, healthy living, non-toxic life, all of that kind of good stuff here on my channel with a little bit of lifestyle and motherhood as well. So I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. But like I said, today's video is gonna be all about tortillas and I'm so excited to share this recipe with you guys. Let me just say, I have never really been like a homemade tortilla kind of girl up until recently. And there are a few reasons why I'm obsessed. So number one, it is obviously a lot harder to make tortillas from scratch if you're comparing it to just picking up a pack of tortillas from the grocery store. But there are two huge benefits to making them yourself. Number one, typically they're going to taste 1,000,000 times better. I really actually hate store-bought tortillas, like classic store-bought tortillas. Sometimes you can find really good ones in like refrigerated sections and stuff that have very few ingredients. You can heat them up and they're delicious. But I'm talking about like run-of-the-mill in the aisle. You go and you grab a plastic sleeve of tortillas. They're just not tasty. Like they taste funky, like cardboard, the flavor's weird, the texture's weird. And you have to, you have to understand that to have a long shelf life, there's gotta be a whole lot of stuff in there to keep those tortillas soft and pliable and not get hard and stale and crunchy, which fresh tortillas will do that in just a few days. So fresh homemade tortillas taste 1,000,000 times better. In fact, I love making tacos for dinner because they're just so easy, they're so tasty, and you can always mix it up and make them different ways. And I used to make tacos, here and there, and Matt would always be like, can you just I just don't like tacos. Like can we not with the tacos? And I was like, how do you not like tacos? Everybody likes tacos. But really it came down to the nasty tortillas. And once I started making them homemade, I tried a recipe not too long ago and I made tacos for dinner and he was like, this is my favorite dinner ever. This is my favorite dinner you have ever made. They're so good. And literally the only thing I changed was the tortillas. Okay, and then the other reason they are so much better is because, like I was talking about shelf stability and adding stuff into the store-bought tortillas, if you've ever actually looked at the ingredient list, which I most certainly have, that's one of the things I always look at when I'm buying food, it is, a massive paragraph this big with font that is this big. They are loaded with ingredients that a lot of them are additives and stabilizers and just different things, again, to mimic that fresh texture when they are far from fresh. So you are getting all kinds of additives in those tortillas. So not the best thing if you're trying to approach or embrace a more real food, simple food kind of diet. Okay, so those are the two main reasons I like to make them. Again, it is extra steps. It's not as easy, but I'm telling you, it's so worth it. You might be watching this video and you're just like, yeah, I'm not gonna make my own tortillas. I was never a homemade tortilla girl until I got in the habit. And once you get it down, it's easy. It's kind of therapeutic to make them and the taste is just off the charts. And of course, they are just so much more delicious. And your Taco Tuesday or whatever night that you're having tacos is going to be so much more elevated and your family is going to be like, what did you do? These are amazing. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the recipe tutorial on how to make them. I will have linked for you guys down below a blog post that has the full printable recipe if you want to catch that there. Okay, you guys, so I've got my flour in here. This is actually fresh ground EINKORN flour. So EINKORN flour is what I like to use to make my tortillas, mainly because I can tolerate EINKORN flour totally fine. It doesn't bother my stomach. Typical wheat flours can, which is why I like to sourdough all of my wheat products. I make them all with sourdough starter so that they're fermented and I have no problem digesting them. But with tortillas, if I just want to make them real quick and not have to worry about like creating dough the day before so that it can ferment overnight, I will use EINKORN. EINKORN is also just richer in protein. It has a lower gluten content and it's actually the only like wheat that hasn't actually been hybridized in any way. None of the chromosomes have been messed with, so it's very digestible, and I just love cooking with it. It also has a really rich, like, nutty flavor. So that is what I'm using, and I did actually mill my flour fresh. I have a whole video on why I do that, the cost breakdown of doing that versus buying flour already made. So you guys can go check out that video, but just a little note, when I grind my einkorn berries up fresh, I do 3 cups of flour. If you're just using straight up like all-purpose einkorn flour, I love the Jovial Foods brand. They have a really good one. I used to use 2 cups, but now that I grind it fresh, I up it to 3 because it just turns out the same that way. I don't know. So then to the einkorn flour, I'm gonna be adding melted butter, some cool water, and then also a little bit of salt as well. So you just mix up the dough until it's all combined together, and then I'm just going to cover it with a little tea towel, and I'm gonna let it rest for about 10 minutes, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so the dough has been sitting for about 10 minutes, and now I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna knead it a little bit. It's really not as scary as it sounds if you're not someone who is typically kneading dough. We're not super concerned about, you know, perfectly activating the gluten so we get this really nice rise, because tortillas are flat. So it's very simple, pretty foolproof. We're basically just going to knead it until the surface, instead of being kind of textured, becomes nice and smooth. Okay, so I just separated all of the dough into about, I think this is, 12. This makes about 10 to 12 tortillas depending on how big you make these. These are like a little bit smaller than golf ball size. So now I'm just gonna roll these out. If you have a tortilla press, you can do it real easy, but I don't have one of those. So I just do it the old fashioned way with a little bit of parchment paper and a rolling pin. Okay, so I've got a very hot cast iron skillet here. As far as how you cook them, I basically just place the tortilla down and I let it cook for a minute or so. You will start to see it really bubbles up, and then it's time to flip. All right, so you can see all of those little bubbles. And then when I flip it over, got a nice tortilla. Okay guys, so here are the final product. They roll up nicely. Oh my gosh, they're like hot and steamy. They smell so good. Got like a nice fat stack of tortillas here, and they are delicious and warm. They've got air bubbles. They're so good. Okay you guys, so that is it for my homemade einkorn tortilla recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you will try them, and even if you don't have einkorn, you know, you can look up recipes on Pinterest for just straight up regular flour. It is probably gonna be a little bit different, but still it will be simple, it will be straightforward, and they will make your taco experience amazing, I'm telling you. So speaking of tacos, we're gonna go eat some, but thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.